it's Lee from ColouringQueen.net, and I'm excited to show you the wonderful Magical Dawn by Hanna Karlzon. And this is the English imprint of the original from Sweden that was only released a few months ago, so they're very quick in getting this one out. Now, as you see from the covers, they're both exactly the same image. There's a little bit of a difference. Magical Dawn's got a more pinker cover as compared to the lilac cover on Magisk Gryning. They've both got the gold foil. The gold foil colour on the Swedish edition just looks like a slightly different shade, but still with the gold foiling. Same design, the only difference is in the translation of the title. This one's just slightly pinker. On the spine, seeing them both up together, we've got the slightly different look on the fonts and a little bit more information on the English edition because it comes with the words colouring book. But other than that, and the slightly different shade of gold used, they're pretty well the same, and this is that lovely black binding. Now on the back we've got the English translation, and up against the Swedish we've got the same imagery, but on this one, the English edition, it looks more vibrant than on the Swedish edition, but yet we have the same things, and it's like the white is just a bit whiter and the gold that they've used contrasts a little bit more than the gold that they've used over here, and the black is more of a brighter black than a duller black that's used over here. So it's just slightly different, and it's just that difference in colouring. So inside Magical Dawn, the paper they've used is 150 GSM off-white, and it's exactly the same as the Swedish edition. So we've got the lovely black protective cover that starts out just like we had in Magisk Gryning. We've got the lovely froggy that greets us, and just a different publisher's logo because Gibbs Smith, a US company, are doing the English imprints of Hanna's books. Copyright information over here, which is the same as what we had in the Swedish edition, except they're changed just where the elements are, the little crystals. So instead of being over here, they're over here, but the same sort of thing. Now the paper is lovely, and up against the original Swedish edition, it really is very, very similar, if not the same paper. The nameplate page in the English edition is now in English, and really that's the only change between the books, because Gibbs Smith do a fantastic job of replicating these as close as possible to the original. So in all other respects, the English edition is the same as the Swedish edition. So let's have a look at it. Now, because it's printed on both sides of the paper, and this has only been opened once by me, you don't have to sort of loosen the spine up a little bit to get into the edges, and that's just the same with the Swedish edition of the book. Bearing in mind I've opened this one a few more times. So over here we can see that the binding does fold down quite well, and that's because I have opened it more than this one. This one is, the binding is a little bit stronger, and so you're just going to have to loosen it up to get into those small areas down here. But I've only opened this once, so with time it'll loosen up. Now, just like in the original edition, there are images that are double page spreads, and the line art does run into the spine. And you can see on the Swedish edition here how they've really positioned it exactly the same as it was in the Swedish book. So even though they do run up to the spine, that's what the original did as well. And again, to colour in those, just push down gently and it'll eventually relax a little bit, but the binding on this one does feel a lot stronger than on the Swedish edition. Now this one of Hanna's is all with a magical theme to it, and so it did sort of take me a little while for me to adjust to it, but I've got to say now I absolutely love it. There's all these bottles and crystals and potions, and they're just adorable, of course with Hanna's style of gorgeous little animals and little crowns. So I love all of these bottles and whatnot. And in the Swedish edition, the bottle was also in English, the I Love Memories on it, or the Love Memories. So there's been no change to that. And same with this illustration. It was exactly the same in the Swedish edition with the bottle name tag in English. And there's our froggy that we've seen on the nameplate page in an extended of him. I love that frog. And Hanna always does these cute little houses, little villages and whatnot. They're all very cute. Now the rainbow dust was also rainbow dust in the Swedish edition, so there's no change there either. We've got Dragon's Breath, and of course that was also Dragon's Breath in the Swedish edition as well. So there's no change in the bulk of the illustrations, really only on the nameplate page. And Hanna has a huge international audience, and that's probably why she did those in English in the first place. Now the little birdies do look like they're very close to the spine, but again they were the same in this Swedish edition. It's just that this binding hasn't been opened as much as the other one, and I'm sure when it is opened a bit more it'll relax further. And again this was also in English in the Swedish edition. And Hanna's, one of the first artists, I think, to make bugs, look so appealing. There's these beautiful mushrooms, and of course our little animal with the crown on its head. I love the way she does those, it's so cute, and it's such a part of her style. We always expect some insects and crowns and beautiful women from Hanna, as well as lots of jewels and whatnot. This one seems to have more jewels and gems than previous ones. And then at the end of the book we've got this lovely illustration here of the apple with the crystal inside of it, which is super gorgeous. Our matte black protective paper, and of course our back cover. So there it is, the beautiful Magical Dawn, and very, very similar to the original Swedish edition. Just some changes in the colour of the cover and the foil, and obviously the text is in English. The links to buy Magical Dawn are below the video. Until next time, happy colouring.